Hey everyone, I'm Kelly Bargabas, and you're listening to All There Is. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in today. Not long ago, two of my nieces came over to hang out and have dinner. They convinced and cajoled us to come downstairs to the game room and play pool with them. Craig has the pool table he grew up with. I think his dad purchased it from the Sears catalog in the 70s, but it's still in great shape and it is really cool to have it in our house. We certainly don't use it as much as we should. And it's been harder lately with Craig's progressing weakness in his arms and legs. He wasn't sure he could still shoot pool. But this night, we did. Lila and Kalia are 14 and 12, and honestly, I can't remember how we teamed up, if it was me and Craig versus the two of them, or maybe it was me and Lila versus Craig and Kalia. Doesn't matter. The game room lights were on, the neon sign in the window that said Cocktails and Dreams in hot pink that Craig bought was on. The soundtrack from Hamilton that Kalia requested was playing in the background. We were having a good time. The girls had played pool before at our house and I'm sure other places, but they don't get the opportunity a lot. We taught them how to rack the balls, how to alternate the stripes and solids and make sure that the 8-ball was in the center, and then to push up the whole formation with your fingers inside the triangular frame before you lift it off. All very important life skills. And we taught them what it means to break, and then we started playing, trying to get the stripes and solids in the pockets. All of our shots were inconsistent, but playing pool is kind of like playing golf to me. You get just enough good shots and lucky breaks to keep you in the game. Right when you're ready to throw down your stick or your club and give up, you make the next play. You connect with the ball and you feel it in your arms and your core. The ball goes in and it feels great. So good, in fact, it keeps you going to try again. On this particular night, I began to notice that whenever Lila's turn came, she would hold her stick in her right hand, her left splayed out on the table in a wide stance so she could cradle the pool cue and run it back and forth between her first two fingers while she eyed her target and practiced her aim. While she was doing this, she quietly said out loud, but only to herself, "I got this. I got this. I got this." No nervous laughter, no acting dumb or prepping us for a mulligan. She didn't tell us how bad she was at this game or how unsure she was of whether or not she could do it. She didn't whine about how unfair it was to have to try and get the 4-ball in the corner pocket when the 8-ball was in the way. She just said, "I got this." And then she took the shot. And sometimes she whiffed and didn't hit anything, and sometimes she made the shot, and it was awesome, and we high-fived each other around the room. And of course, there was some typical teenage sister squabbles over whose turn it really was, who got to use the short pool cue last, and who was a better player. But the next time it was her turn, all of that drama, all the bad shots she'd already missed, it was like none of that ever happened before. Lila took the same stance. She splayed out her left hand the same way, ran the cue a few times over it, and said to herself, quietly, without pomp and circumstance, "I got this." It was the most pure and beautiful example of self-encouragement I'd ever seen. It wasn't for show. It wasn't bravado or bragging or anything really. It was sincere. It was certain and quiet. I'll never forget it. I asked her several weeks later about it. Her and I were out to dinner, a belated celebration of her December birthday, and I brought it up. "Hey, do you remember that night you and Kalia were over and we played pool?" I asked her. "Yeah." And then I said, "You know how before every shot you said, 'I got this'? Do you remember that?" "I did." "No, well, I don't know." I said, "Yeah, you did. It was impressive. I loved it." Lila shrugged her shoulders. "Where did you get that from?" I asked. She raised her eyebrows. "I don't know. Maybe my dad?" Well, I love to see it. It really inspired me, so don't ever lose it, okay?" "All right, okay." And that was the end of our deep conversation. Anyone who has ever really tried to talk to a 14-year-old can relate. Many weeks later, I was driving in my car alone, which is rare these days. so more magical than ever. We all love to be in our cars riding alone. And I was thinking and ruminating about my life lately, our life. Craig's illness and the impending reality that was in our future, according to what the experts keep telling us. And I was feeling overwhelmed, like someone was asking me to shoot the 4-ball in the side pocket with every other single ball in the way. I didn't have a fair shot. It wasn't going to be easy. Anyone who's witnessed someone with ALS, when we tell them the diagnosis, they look at me, more than him, with horror. Oh my God, I feel so bad for you. It's going to be hard and horrible, and this is going to happen, and then this, and he's going to need you to do this and this. And I know this already. I've already seen significant changes in him and therefore our home life. I can't really leave him alone for too long because he needs help to cook and eat and to get the dishes out of the cupboard and to take the dog out and to make sure he hasn't fallen and hurt himself like he did this winter when I wasn't home. He fell in the driveway in ice and snow and couldn't get up and laid there until a neighbor's contractor saw him and helped him. When his arms fail, I need to help him get his shirt off and his socks on and off and pull back the covers so he can get into bed and get the garbage out on Thursday nights and the groceries up the stairs, and all of it is now on me to make sure the 4-ball goes in the side pocket. It's already a lot, and it's only just begun. Before this, I never went to the doctor with Craig, ever, until the ankle surgery didn't solve Craig's issues in October of 2024. It was after that I said, okay, I'm coming with you. And then I was mostly a fly on the wall, taking notes, asking some questions because I can't help myself, and I do have experience with all this stuff. But after the ALS diagnosis, there was a definite shift. The doctors and nurses started to address me directly, making statements and asking questions like, are you the only one at home? Do you have any help? Who's your backup? Who's going to be there to take care of Craig if something happens to you? The first few times this happened, I was unprepared and fumbling with my answers. In my head, I wanted to turn around and look behind me like, who are you looking at? Me? Moi? I'm the primary caregiver? Wait a damn minute. I didn't sign up for this. I have things to do. And not from a place of selfish laziness. I'm happy to do all of it for him, as he would for me, but it just wasn't in my plan. And to use corporate lingo, I'm not sure I have the bandwidth to take on a project of this size. I have a job, a career, a sick father, a mother who needs help, and a brother who needs me. What do you mean? What do you mean I'm the primary caregiver? Why are you looking at me? And I was feeling all of that on this day riding alone in my car. And then I remembered Lila, and I said out loud, quietly, confidently, without drama, maybe a few tears, I got this. I got this. I can do this. I'm not someone who normally has to talk myself up like this. Historically, I have a proven track record of success. Sounds like a resume blurb, doesn't it? But it's true. I'm confident. I'm capable. I'm fantastic in a crisis and chaos. And I'm a rock star at multitasking. I'm Gen X, for God's sake. We were born for stuff like this. I'm not scared. I can literally handle anything. And this isn't my first rodeo. I've already dealt with a lot in my life. Divorce, job loss, moving across country, starting over a few times, you name it. Aging, dying parents, a brother with invisible disabilities. But I have to admit that this latest crisis, my husband getting ALS, for the first time in my Gen X life, I feel like I'm at my limit. I'm not confident at the table. I'm uneasy with the formation of the balls. I don't know if I can make this shot. But then I remember Lila and her quiet, sweet, certain, calm, I got this. And somewhere deep inside, I know I do. And I know I'm not alone. For any of you listening, I know this is going to resonate because everyone has experienced trauma, loss, grief, overwhelm, crisis, chaos, or if you haven't yet, you will. And I know for sure that there are people out there who've been doing this for a very long time in the most expert and kick-ass way. I'm not the first, won't be the last. But I see you. I am here to share the human experience and to let you know that sometimes all we need is to remind ourselves that we got this. It doesn't mean it isn't hard or that it doesn't suck or that it's fair. This whole past year with the crisis going on with my dad, I've had this conversation many times with my mom, and she'll say to me different versions of, "It isn't fair to you to have to blank." And I always responded with, "None of this is fair, Mom. Life isn't fair. Like, that's not even worth talking about. That's a given. Let's put that to the side. Fairness is not part of this game that we're playing, period." But knowing that no matter how hard this gets, we can believe that we got this. And with every flub shot or mulligan or whiff, I'll get another chance to get it right. I might have 5 bad shots in a row, but there's going to be one where I connect the cue to the ball and it's going to feel like I know what I'm doing, even if for a moment. But every time I stand at that pool table, looking at all the different colored balls splayed out, wondering if I even have an angle that will work, I'll remind myself, just like Lila taught me that night, I got this. And you do too. Thanks for tuning in and sharing your time with me today. I hope it encouraged you. You can find all the past episodes of this podcast wherever you listen. They're all out there if you need to catch up. And also at kellybargabas.com you can find them. And you can find links to my books, my new novel, Loving Lavender Finch. Until we meet again, take care. And remember, you got this.